And welcome to Cool Fridges, where we talk about cool refrigerators. I'm Nelson Ellingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
What's going on, my chill bro? We just fridging out or what?
Nothing Kelvinator.
What? Nothing Kelvinator.
It's the classic line that I opened with, on this show. Nothing Kelvinator. Remember? So it was episode 13. We replaced the word much with Kelvinator.
And people that have tuned in because of the Reddit logo on the thumbnail, maybe this is their first episode. What we've done here is a classic bait and switch. This is the Refrigerator Podcast.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Who would listen to a podcast called Cool Refrigerators? Reddit, on the other hand, catchy name, catchy title. I might listen to that. Boom, you got done. You got. We're talking about fridges. Now, what do you think about fridges this week, Gambo?
Fridges, look, you know this about me. I'm a freezer guy through and through.
Oh my god! Yeah. This is obviously what divides the podcast, because again, you bring up freezers, and I think they have no place.
Here's a legitimate question for you: are you a freezer at the top of the fridge or a freezer at the bottom of the fridge kind of guy?
You know what? If I was designing my own fridge, which, funnily enough, I think we've had a similar conversation to this before on the podcast, which is insane in the first place. But I prefer side to side, both full length, if I had to. But then it would go freezer on top, because I'm not an animal, and then freezer down the bottom as an absolute last resort.
Yeah.
No. The absolute last resort is one of those like mini bar freezers where you open the fridge door and then inside is just like a small square.
Yeah,
it's getting frosted over entirely, and it's It either makes the fridge too cold or the freezer is not cold enough. That little box.
If you were to be condemned to hell, and you got to like wherever you stay in hell, you'd be like, oh, it's not so bad. They've got a fridge here. But then you'd open the fridge and realize it's got one of those mini in-fridge freezer compartments. And you'd go, this makes complete sense.
And all you've got to eat is those like frozen meals you need to reheat.
So I just also wanted to start the show with a bit of an update for the very loyal listeners. So only the most loyal of listeners would know about, we've had a campaign for some weeks to do with our friend Andrew.
For like one episode.
To do with our friend Andrew, we were trying to convince him to shave his head. And we even had some people that were nice enough to leave us a review of our show on iTunes with the review saying, God damn it, Andrew, shave your head. We just want to announce that Andrew has shaved his head.
He's done it. It's insane. It's insane that he did it. Should we tell him how bad it looks, or we just like kind of keep it going?
Well, I think the next logical step is to now get his girlfriend to shave her head as well. If we can do that, we know that we have complete control of them psychologically.
Not until everybody has shaved their head will we be happy.
And even then, even after that, we might not be happy.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're not sure what happiness is or how to attain it, but we think that we're on the right path. Dear listener, shave your head and then send us a photo and please like post it to our subreddit. It would really probably make our day. We're not sure.
If we guarantee, and this is something we can't guarantee, so have fun with that. We guarantee that if you shave your head and post a picture in our subreddit, it will be the most upvoted thing in that subreddit.
Yes, it absolutely will be. Even if I have to create 1,000 fake accounts to make it so.
Shave head throwaway 1. Shave head throwaway 2.
All right, Cameron, I think we should get into the episode of Reddit on Reddit. Fooled you again. Yeah, it's not about refrigerators.
But think of all the first-time listeners that dropped off right there in that first 5 minutes.
That's what I'm hoping for. See, I'm sick of new listeners because then we have to explain things like how we're trying to get our friend Andrew to shave his head.
Yeah. Or like, the announcement
It's just annoying. Yeah, we just want people to know. And that's the current listeners. And anyone new just really throws a spanner in the works. So anywho, here's the first Reddit on Reddit. This is by Forium. And it was in the subreddit Facepalm. I wasn't going to necessarily do this, I feel like we've spoken about Bill Gates before. It's about Bill Gates, but I just thought this was very well written. So,
well, as the fridge routine pointed out, we're not afraid of doing the same thing twice.
yeah. No matter how bizarre the theme might be. I was still surprised. It was a pleasant surprise when I remembered we had already spoken about fridges. Anyway, okay, here we go. This is by 4 a.m. I said that already. Okay. Imagine being Bill Gates right now. You spend 30 years of your life and 50 billion of your own dollars supporting humanitarian causes. You directly save hundreds of thousands of lives in Southeast Asia by providing anti-malaria netting to half of a continent. You drop infant mortality rates throughout the entire developing world by funding vaccine programs, including vaccinating 40 million children for polio. And amongst a plethora of philanthropic endeavors, you find free educational platforms like Khan Academy, so people can have free access to high-quality education. Then after donating half of your wealth to charity and pledging 90% of the remainder to charity in your will, arguably doing more to better life on Earth for humanity than any other human being to ever live, you hop on the internet only to find 1 million scientifically illiterate fucking imbeciles that are using the very computers you pretty much invented in the first place to call you a child-murdering arch-villain antichrist because they watched a YouTube video made by some other yokel with the comprehension of a fucking potato.
But I already know the response that the people that would do that would level at this anyway, which is, well, he's rich, so he has no problems.
Yeah.
It's like this idea that, like, because he is rich, and obviously he's obscenely rich, that, like, he can't be upset. He's not allowed to be upset at anything. He's rich.
So we can bag him out about starting the coronavirus.
No, what I'm saying is, because I agree with this long statement. Like, it must be super frustrating. Yeah. But I can imagine the people that do this are so single-minded. The people that are talking about in this thing are so single-minded. They'll be like, who cares what Bill Gates thinks? He's so rich. He's got no problems. You know what I mean? This is a multi-layered criticism. Therefore, it'll be lost on the people it's supposed to go to.
Yeah. That, I see what you mean. And it's like, it just, I just couldn't imagine being in Bill Gates' shoes because the other thing is, right, with having this amount of wealth, there's actually some severe consequences that you can affect just by donating a lot of money to any particular area or something. For example, like he could give his entire wealth to like Africa or like, you know, or just some other like third world country, and they would just no longer live in poverty. But the repercussions of that, I'm not intelligent enough to go into any specific detail, but I know that it's like a multi-layered effect. You know, you can't just do that because that will like disrupt the flow of fucking everything, and like, and it can cause more turmoil in the long run. And so I think that it's interesting to be like, oh, well, he's got enough money to just, you know, save everybody. Why is he still so rich? And oh yeah, he donates 50% of his wealth, but he's still like the richest person in the world. I can just imagine like all these people complaining about this like stupid, nonsensical stuff that they don't understand.
Yeah, it's like to your point about him donating money to like kind of an impoverished country. The idea that, like, let's say that impoverished country is most likely probably being exploited for cheap labor with a big brand. I won't name the shoe and athletic brand I'm thinking of, but I think everyone get a tick if you can think of it. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Or a swoosh.
You can Google it. Yeah. You just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. So let's say that Nike. Oh, cheers. Also, here in Australia, we say Nike, but Americans say Nike. Do you know that's a thing?
Yeah, it's weird that Americans are wrong. So
no,
often.
I actually think they're right. I think we say it wrong.
Well, I actually believe it came from a Greek god, right?
But I thought it was actually technically Nike. Adidas is wrong. I know Adidas is wrong for sure, because that came from a god. That's Adidas, the god. But Nike,
yeah. Nike is a god. Nike is a god.
Oh, so it is.
But but I don't know if it's. I like it might be Nike the god. I don't know.
Anyway,
but what I'm saying is it's not like an American thing. It's like a Greek god.
Anyway, my point is whatever brand we were talking about, whatever it could be, let's say that they're exploiting a country for labor, and Bill Gates came in and he solved all their problems, and they no longer need that cheap labor. Therefore, all the cost of that company's products go up tenfold because they now have to pay far more livable wages to everyone. And say that happens to a lot of businesses, and everyone's businesses are affected by this, so they all up the price of all of their products, and then no one can afford anything, so they need to renegotiate job salaries at their jobs. There's like a butterfly effect, and that's just like one example. Like there's millions of things that you may not consider that would happen to everything. It's like a ripple effect. But you know what? He's rich. He doesn't have any problems.
He doesn't have any problems. Here's the thing, though, Cambo. If I gave you $50 billion, let's say, name one problem that you would have.
Where am I going to put all that money, Nelson? I think
buy a big wallet.
I think I'd
You've
have
got so much money. Buy a big wallet.
I think I'd have that Pablo Escobar problem of he didn't know how to hide all of his money. And he was like putting it into the walls of houses and burying them in the ground.
And bury. Problem solved. Name another problem.
Well, because then didn't the rats start eating all his money?
Okay, well, solve that with money. You've got a lot of money.
Throw wads of money at the rats.
Throw money at the you could kill the rats buy gold bullion and then throw that. Why not exactly? Why not bury the gold bullion? Convert your cash into gold, then bury the gold. Rats can't eat that.
Yeah, but what if the price of gold goes down substantially and then you've lost a bunch of money?
Yeah, but it might go up again.
Oh my God.
Think about that.
You should have been there with Pablo.
Yeah, exactly. We could have saved him so much money.
You could have actually made him more money.
I think so. Also, if any of the doomsday preppers will, have you know that the gold is definitely a valuable currency when the world is in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
I
don't understand the sense of that. To be honest, I imagine.
I was going to say, I like that just quickly, in your hypothetical of giving me 50 billion, I've assumed that it's in cash.
Yeah. Well, because it was. I'm glad that you understood that I was going to give you. I was actually going to give you 500,000 duffel bags, each with $1 million.
You know what would be really annoying is if someone was to give you like an obscene amount of money, but it's all in different countries' denominations of money, so you do have to go and trade it.
Nah, because that would be a more efficient way to
travel.
Have money. I think, yeah, because you're not gonna. If you've got that much money, you got to travel to different countries.
You've got a house in London, so all those euro or the pound or whatever you may have, that's still good over there. Just mail all that money to that location, and have it stored in that house.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be brilliant. I would like, wouldn't that just be a dream actually in of itself? Because one of the problems us poor people have is exchanging money. If you're going on a trip overseas, you're like, oh, I want to get, it's kind of a bit of a gamble. You can technically come back with more, or at least the exchange rate can be better.
Yeah.
But normally you got to pay fees and stuff anyway. So you're normally worse off regardless. But just imagine having $50 billion and you're like, I don't give a shit about the minuscule difference of money that I'm going to get from one country to another.
I don't care about the exchange rate, and I never will.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the level of rich that I want to get to.
Yeah.
I want to become so rich that I don't care about the exchange rate.
I don't even need to. I don't even
country.
need to be that rich for my dream to happen. All I want is for when my car registration comes, for it not to completely hurt me.
Yeah. Okay.
If I was the level of wealthy that I'm like, oh, car registration's due. What is it? $900? Not a problem.
Yeah. That one does suck.
Because it's just enough money where you're like, I mean, I have the money, but I don't have that much more.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Owning a house would be nice.
That'll never happen for our generation unless we live, obviously, maybe we'll get to it in an episode or two, in Tasmania.
Nah. Unless I find where Bill Gates has buried his gold bullion.
Or Pablo. He's not coming back for it.
Yes, that's true. Maybe that's why people can't find his missing bags of money, because he buried gold. People dig up the gold and they're like, well, this obviously isn't Pablo Escobar's.
Notoriously, he buried cash.
Cover that back up, obviously. Yeah. I don't need that. Also, here's a fun fact.
Yep.
I did Google search Nike God pronunciation. Okay, so we know the original, because if Nike, the company, says, oh, you pronounce it Nike, but it's not the same pronunciation as the God, then they as a company are incorrect. Right. I feel. It's like, do you know what? It's like when Uno, the company, on Twitter tweeted out that you can't put a draw 4 on a draw 2. That's wrong. They were wrong. Just because they invented the game doesn't mean that what they say goes. Okay, yeah. Same sort of logic here. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. Okay, Nike comes from the classical Greek. It's got like weird letters. I can't really. I don't know.
Yeah, those pronunciation guides have never once helped me. By the way.
Which was okay. How about this? Which was pronounced something like Nike.
Okay.
Neekeh.
Okay.
Nike.
Which lends credence to Nike, don't you think?
Well, it's pronounced differently.
But I'm saying
it would be Nike.
But I'm saying Nike is closer to Nike than Nike.
Well. Ke. See, I feel like you could actually pronounce the last part K-E-H. Ke.
So Nike.
You could say Nike.
Nike. Okay. Someone more intelligent than us, which is most people listening, because we're the ones that came up with brain doctor the other day, to which several people have said to me, do you mean like neurologist? Do you like that?
Yeah.
So someone smarter than us, tell us what is correct. And we won't fact check it. We ask you not to fact check us. We won't fact check you. Tell us, is it Nike or Nike?
Also, I've just read on. In the classical era, and is now pronounced a bit like Nike, N-E-E-K-E. Nike.
Okay, so are you willing to change your stance at all?
That's much more like Nike.
Yeah. I'm pretty certain that Nike is correct. But again, Adidas can fuck off.
It's Nika. I'm going to call that brand Nika.
That's a nice pair of Nika you're wearing.
Very well. And when they're like, I think you mean Nike. I'll be like, I Googled this, so I know.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you're a fucking idiot. Do you know much about the gods?
Okay. Anyway, let's move on, Gammy, to Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit is by Main Squirrel 5. If humans had an XP bar, what would increase XP, and who would have the highest XP in the world?
Well, I mean, XP would surely be experience, right? Because that's kind of what it is, right? They're experience points. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, is it life experience? Like, say, like what are some of the big ones? Maybe like getting married or, turning 30 or like something. I'm just saying things that are closer to my age bracket, I'm realizing.
Okay. Well, because I guess there's like age just in general, right?
Yeah. So it's like
an extra year, just like give you more experience points.
Yeah, I think you would get more each year, and then for certain milestones, maybe you get a little more. I would say maybe 40 you would get more, because I've been led to believe that life begins at 40.
Yeah. Well, when you have your midlife crisis, you believe anything. So I think that is technically correct.
Here's the thing. If I understand, because this is a video game thing, obviously, if I understand XP, is that when you gather XP, do you use that to trade up in, like, level up in the game?
Yeah.
See, here's the problem.
Well, you wouldn't know this, okay? I know. Because, like, in Spider-Man, for example, the game that you've played frequently, you refuse to upgrade any skills of the skill tree when you acquire experience points.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I would probably have so many experience points because I never would have traded them in for anything. I'd be like, I'm fine how I am. I've got everything I need. Like much to the annoyance of both you and Stacey, who watch me play video games. Just on however that character begins is how it ends at the end of the game. It will be exactly the same.
I like the idea that if this was a real thing, where you would just be still like an infant toddler, and you're like, I'm totally fine, and everybody around you is like flying around with the wings that they bought with some of their XP. And
you didn't even trade in any XP. You didn't even trade in any XP to go through puberty. You're still underdeveloped. I don't need puberty. I'm fine.
I think there is one thing to say for this year in particular, and that is that there's an XP lull. Nobody's gaining much XP this year, just in general.
If there was XP to be gained by online murder mysteries, you and I, Nelson, would be over-indexing in XP.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and let me tell you, we didn't get zero increase of XP. For we've at least gained 1 XP from doing the activities. I do like the idea that I wish I could like rate my life in experience points to see how much I've got.
Yeah.
Just over time, like literally different experiences I've had. Because like there's a lot of days, especially recently, where I will sit at home and I'll watch Dota on TV. And that'll be my entire day. Yeah. And like that is just a bad day.
But you're not alone in that. Like I think everyone universally is sitting around, but the thing is, you couldn't, even if you wanted to, you couldn't do much else. I mean, like even it's gotten to the point where obviously I love movies, right? Like that's probably my thing. And you love video games, probably your thing. It's gotten to the point where it's like the world is like, oh, you like movies, do you? Well, do nothing but watch movies all day then. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, oh my God, is this trying to maybe I don't want to watch a movie right now. I'm sick of it. And I'm sure you're the same with video games. I
hate movies.
I'm sure you're probably the same with video games where you're like, from the outside in, this seems like a dream come true. But really all it's done is shine a light on that, like, hell is being trapped in a room with your best friends. Like as soon as you get to do that and nothing else, it loses all kind of sentimentality. It loses everything that was special.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. I think I haven't gotten over video games yet, but maybe because I don't know, there's just a lot of replayability with the ones that I do. It's like a movie. You can't really watch it like over and over again. The and there's like,
I'm still watching a lot of movies, but it's just getting to the point where like I'll watch maybe 2 movies in a row and then go, I don't want to watch a third movie, but there's nothing else to do. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's same with games. Like you play for hours and hours and then you finish and you're like, but there is nothing else to do now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Guess I'll go to bed now and wake up and play video games in the morning.
3 p.m., but I may as well just go to bed because there's nothing to do.
This day is over. Here's who I think definitely has the most experience points. It's the Jackass guys.
Well, you know what I was thinking? And I was thinking this because one of the movie marathons that Stacey and I have been doing are the Mission Impossible movies. And every time I watch them, like for instance, the last one we watched had this really intricate motorcycle chase in which Tom Cruise did all the motorcycle stuff. And it's like, he just seems like he is just the best at everything. And he probably like, and the way that the cult of Tom Cruise is designed is you watch any behind the scenes stuff and they'll be like, Tom Cruise learned to fly a helicopter for this Mission Impossible movies. And you know what? He's the best helicopter pilot I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So going off the reputation of Tom Cruise, he must have insane XP.
Yeah. That's true. But you know who definitely has the most is Neo from The Matrix.
Yeah.
Try to top that, Cambo. Try to top that.
I can't.
You can't.
You're correct.
Yeah, because he learns kung fu in like a few seconds. Okay. I don't think I've known anyone that could learn kung fu in just a few seconds.
What is a skill that you would learn if you could download it instantly, but have no interest in actually learning? Like if someone's like, "Do you want to learn how to play the oboe?"
Okay.
You'd be like, "I don't want to dedicate any time to this, but if you can just install it, I'll learn how to play the oboe."
Yeah, actually, musical instrument is good. I think that I would. I think saxophone. I've always loved the idea of playing saxophone, and I did try to learn it when I was younger. I have zero interest now in my adult life to ever pick up a saxophone and try to learn it. But if I just knew how to play a saxophone, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I
think anything like that. Calligraphy is another one. I have no interest in learning calligraphy, but if someone could download into my brain calligraphy, that would be great.
Yeah, that's right. How to efficiently do Sudokus? Sure. I'm not going to spend the time to learn, but like if it's just uploaded, then sure. Gives me something else to do.
Yeah.
I finished all the video games for today. I might do a Sudoku because I know them so well.
Or if someone could say to me, "Hey, do you want to know what the Dow Jones is? So whenever you get financial reports and they talk about the Dow Jones, you'll know what the hell that means." I'd go, "Look, I don't want to dedicate any time to it. But if you can download it, I'd love to know that information. I've been confused for years."
Yeah, that is a good point. Actually, I should use it on logical life things that like me, Nelson, should know already. Yeah. But I'm definitely not going to put the time and effort into work out like interest and loans and stuff like that. I should put time into knowing what that is. I've got a mortgage and I have no idea what's going on. I should learn something about the money situation, but I'm not going to put the time into it. Jack me up, Camber. Jack me up.
Jack me up or jack me off. Either or.
I'm happy with either. Here's another one. This is by I Hate Broccoli 69. 69. That's funny.
Is he saying wait, just quickly. Is he saying he hates broccoli, then 69 separately? Or does he hate a broccoli 69? So some kind of 69 that involves broccoli as well.
Okay. Well, it's just double. I think you've just got double broccoli.
No, but I'm saying maybe he's involved in the sexual act of 69, but in some way broccoli is also involved in that act.
Right, I see. So it's like you're saying it's like cowgirl, but like reverse cowgirl, because the reverse is involved. In this instance, it's 69, but the broccoli is involved.
Yeah. Maybe it's being inserted in places. I don't know, but the point is, maybe he hates that.
Hopefully, just eating.
Yeah,
but he hates it. Anyway, okay. If you're a serial killer, what would be your signature thing that you'd have to leave at every crime scene?
Oh yeah, good calling card.
I like a good calling card. Because like obviously the best so far, if you wanted to rate calling cards of serial killers, it'd be the Zodiac, right?
Yeah.
Like that's cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool thing to do, like obscure clues, because it's kind of a fun game. In fact, isn't the new Batman? Isn't that about the Riddler or something?
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because the Zodiac movie was made by David Fincher, who does like Seven and movies like that. A lot of serial killer movies. He made Manhunter on Netflix. And the comment that new Batman trailer's been getting is it looks like a David Fincher movie because it's all like serial killery and it's like a detective story. I would want to leave something that means nothing, but that people will read a lot of meaning into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Like every different person I kill, unrelated to the person that's been killed, a different religious icon from a different religion on each one. Means nothing, but people will really read into that.
Yeah. I think add on to that like a time. A time of the day. Because I think that just leaving one isn't enough because they're like, oh my God, this is a clue to the next murder.
Right.
But really,
it's not.
it's not at all. They're like, oh, he's giving us a time of day in which he's going to do the next murder. But it's not at all.
Yeah. Do you think as a diversion, leaving a time of day in a rough location that is nowhere near the place all the time you're going to murder is a good way to divert them from your trail?
Yeah.
So it'll be in San Francisco at 4 p.m., but really you're in like Chicago and you do it at midday.
Yeah, that's right. I think
because really it'd be like, all right, we know where he won't be and when he won't be there.
Yeah, that's true. But you'd still be like, oh, but he still might be leaving some sort of like triangulatory.
History would suggest he won't be there and he won't do it at that time. Send a couple guys just in case.
I like to do if you can get to the point of where the police, like the Zodiac killer, they share your clues with the wider public to try and get their input. That's when you've won.
Yeah,
that's when you've won. I think if they're like, we are so confused, we need the help of the rest of the public.
Yeah. We need literally anyone.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like it. Also, maybe you should leave broccoli.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Oh.
Please try opening the app
to
continue.
Oh my God, my phone went.
You're having application problems? Very unprofessional of you, Nelson, but the listeners will notice that it's still in the episode, therefore we didn't edit it out. And that's, I like to think, authenticity.
Yeah, but it's okay because we already got rid of the potential new listeners by the cool freaks thing at the start. So now it's just the regular listeners that know that this is just a travesty of a show.
This is par for the course.
These things happen. So deal with it. Okay, Cam, I think we should move on to Today I Advise. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Today I learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned is by Asgrunt. Today I learned in 1957 at an MLB game, a woman was hit by a foul ball. It broke her nose. The game was paused as medics came to tend to her. As they carried her away on a stretcher, play resumed and a foul ball then struck her as she was being carried off by the medics. The second ball broke a bone in her knee. Don't laugh, Camber.
It's like something that would happen to Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm thinking about when he tries to jump the gorge and falls in the gorge. And then they're airlifting him up and he's bumping his head at every point. And then once he gets to the top, he just rolls back into the gorge. That's the kind of like comedic slapstick I'm imagining. Though I imagine in real life it was just really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, would it be? I mean, it'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it?
Well, because like it's funny when it happens to Homer, but if I saw a woman crying, I'd be like, oh, this isn't funny anymore. You know what I mean?
As soon as there's tears.
Yeah.
But see, I think this is what would happen. She'd get hit, you break your nose, you're like, oh my God, there's blood, this is horrible. And then, you sort of calm down after a bit. The medics are like carrying off, you're like, okay, it's fine. She's gonna be fine now. Like horrible thing. And then it happens again. And I think at that second point, you're like, okay, this is funny.
It's not funny until it happened the second time. The first time it happened, you're like, what a tragic accident. And then you're like, wait, again? No, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I do like that. What do you think it is about human nature where we just like to see other people in pain?
I don't know. I wonder where it came from, where pain went from like scary and something to be, like to help those in need, to also sometimes though have a bit of a laugh. Like evolutionary, like what happened over the course of human history where pain stopped being so severe that it was life-threatening. I guess medicine. When you know you can fix it now, like if that would happen at a time when medicine wasn't evolved enough and she broke her nose and her leg, you're like, she might die.
Like, there's a real possibility she's dead.
Yeah.
That's true, but then explain gladiatory battles.
They were pretty funny. They were pretty, with all the Christians and the lions, the thumbs up and down.
If you read any part of the history books, they say that they're referred to as comedic events.
Yeah. Yeah. What hasn't been translated in the modern English one is often there's a lot of sniggering when they're recounting the tales of gladiators, like he died in battle.
What a joke. Yeah.
Which is why I think Gladiator, horrible film. Not a single joke in that movie.
Not one laugh. Is there not? I feel like there's. Oh no, I'm thinking of A Knight's Tale. There's a lot of a lot of comedic beats in A Knight's Tale.
Very historically accurate. It was a funny time.
Oh, I remember the weirdest thing about that movie, where all of a sudden they break into "We Will Rock You" at one point.
Yeah,
and you're like, this makes no sense to the story at all.
And then in the middle of the film, there's like a big dance, and I think they dance to like David Bowie or something. It's quite weird.
Yeah, it's so insane. Anyway, all I'm saying is, Cambo, it's funny when people get hit by stuff.
And if they get hit by things more than once, one hit, not as funny. 2 hits, pretty funny.
Pretty funny. Try 3 hits. See how that goes.
Well, comedy does have a rule of 3s, so in a way she should have been hit one more time.
I think what would have been funny is, she gets hit the second time and people are like, oh, bit of a cheeky snicker. And then somebody from the crowd just should have pegged their ball.
That would have fixed the situation, comedically speaking.
Comedically speaking, that's hilarious.
Yeah, everyone goes, oh, good. We needed a button. We needed a button to the joke, and you've done it.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Because otherwise it's the setup to a joke with no punchline.
Yeah.
It's like being like, oh, my God, you see the guy? He is so fat. And then so that's essentially what happened there. There was a setup, but there was no punchline.
Yeah. There's one time a lady got hit with 2 foul balls. And then a third one came. See, it's hilarious, Camper, when you mention the third ball. Okay, anyway, here's somebody from Shitty Advice. They are Mother Hagrid. It said, I appear to have enraged a lone lunatic on Reddit. I have attempted to block him/her, but it appears he/she has used another account to send me a threatening message. Is this dangerous or just someone letting off steam? Oh, this wasn't in Shitty Advice. Sorry, this was in Advice.
But they're going to receive shitty advice from us, probably.
Oh, they are going to receive.
So I'm going to say, engage this person. Let them know information about you.
You know what you should do? Send them a religious iconic statue with a time on it and let them decipher where you might be at what time.
Yeah. Do you think there's ever a solid strategy in trying to out crazy their crazy? So you start sending them even longer, even more crazy messages to the point where they want to block you.
Yeah, I do actually think this is a great strategy. I think first off, ignoring them is always great.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, right? Everybody, no matter who you are, you always have this moment where you send an email or a text message or just anything It doesn't matter what it is or how reliable it is. There's a small part of you that's like, that might not have gotten through to them. And so I think that if you just ignore it for a little bit, that person has that thought and they're like, oh, maybe I won't bother. Maybe I'm just not getting through. Maybe they blocked me and I'm not, nothing's coming through to them. I'm confused. So I think my number one thing is just to always ignore it, because I think it's funny for people to kind of doubt themselves. But otherwise, I think going insane back at them is a great approach, but I think you should just ask like nonsensical, random questions. Start talking about like conspiracy theories and things that make no logical sense at all. If they've got like an account history on a subreddit, I think like if they're obviously a lunatic already, they will have some crazy comments that they've left on pages, and you should like agree with them, but then step it up a notch again. I think is the next level that you need to get to.
Right.
It reminds me of, I think it was some dude, an actor. I can't remember his name. Anywho, he had a stalker. I think I've spoken about this before. He had a stalker, and to get rid of her, he decided to go on a date with her, and then acted really rude and inconsiderate to all the wait staff. And then eventually she was like, oh, this guy's a jerk, sort of thing. And I think if you can just like out crazy the crazy, then you're fine. That's how you get out of it.
I agree with you. You've got to out crazy the crazy, but you need to be committed to being crazy enough. If the circumstance calls for it, you need to up your crazy so much that you need to send them a fresh thumb in the mail every week. You've just got to go to that place sometimes.
It's what's required.
Whose thumb? That's up to you.
Doesn't matter.
We can't fight all your battles for you. You will have to provide your own thumbs to send in the mail. But if it gets to that point, you just need to commit.
I mean, use your thumbs as a starter because they're easily to access.
I think save yours for last. That's the real message. If it's not driving home with other people's thumbs, you're like, I'm so crazy, I'm sending my own thumbs.
Okay. So just for clarity, what happens is you get somebody's thumb.
Yeah.
But then you take a photo showing that you've still got your thumbs, so they know that they're not your thumbs. And then only in the very last letter that you send them a photo with thumbs that are yours, and then a photo showing they are indeed your thumbs because you have none left.
This is all you have to do is you send the thumb, but you also send a Polaroid picture of the person whose thumb it is. Just to clarify, This is their thumb. Get them to do the thumbs up pose, but with no thumb there to signify this is this person's thumb. And then in the last one, you send a picture of yourself with no thumb. Therefore, they can connect. Oh my God, this is their thumb.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Because Polaroids are the craziest photo to send, by the way. I'm just trying to think of craziness.
Yeah. Polaroids are pretty crazy. What if you find out where they live and cut off the thumbs of people around them? That's crazy. Gambo. I'm threatening. It's a weird threat.
It is a weird threat. Because what are you saying? Are you saying I'm going to cut off your thumbs? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
The threat is I will keep sending thumbs.
I will keep cutting off thumbs. Your next door neighbor, for example, you've maybe never spoken to them before, but you're going to find their thumbs in your mail with a Polaroid of them.
And then when the cops find their thumb at your house, who are they going to blame? I'm not the one with thumbs in my house.
That is next level. You could definitely do that. I think, okay, how about this? I just want to, just as a hypothetical, if somebody cut off your thumbs and then looked you dead in the eye and said, you better blame this on your next door neighbor. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. Would you blame it on your next door neighbor out of fear?
Look, it's hard to know whether I'd cross the bridge until I come to it, but I think I probably would.
I can make it happen. I'm willing to put this theory in
which is
action.
funny because our neighbor is such an elderly, fragile woman. Then it would be very bizarre if I was like, I insist she did this to me. She got off my thumbs and mailed them to me.
Isn't that? Yeah. See, that's pretty good because who in their right mind is going to deny, that seems like such a crazy made up story. All you need is just two neighbors to agree. And then that person looks guilty as hell.
Yeah. Because like even if you got two of the three neighbors agree, but one holds out, you've still at least sowed some doubt in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even if not even 100% of the people agree, a lot of people like two of them did say he did.
Yeah. Like, I kind of like this idea. It's hard to because who's gonna have their thumbs cut off and then blame somebody else entirely?
I don't know why I've just thought of this, but I'm going to change gears completely for a second. But wouldn't it be really annoying, like if you could find out where this person lives, like roughly, right, like the town, but also find out maybe their mobile phone number, their cell phone number, and then just go to where they live and put up a bunch of missing posters of them with their phone as the contact number. So if people see him out and then they ring and then he picks up the phone and then he's just constantly getting harassed by people being like, I think I've found you. What's going on here? That's a good psychological warfare, I think.
Oh, wow. Campbell, that's really good, actually. I'm really tempted to do that.
Yeah, we should do it to our friend Andrew.
We should do it with have photos of him with a hair. We're missing this.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Campbell, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by Thursday42. A belt is the only piece of clothing where it is perfectly acceptable to go outside without wearing one, but still makes you look like a pervert if you take it off once you're in public. I thought this was a great one. This is I feel like that summed it up perfectly. I would absolutely be weirded out if somebody takes off their belt in public, but by no means is it necessary at all to have one.
I wonder,
it's insanely weird.
Do you think eventually the belt will kind of die out or even go the way of the tie, which is it once served a function, but now it just becomes like a holdover of something else? Because, for instance, Uniqlo are really big on this. A lot of their pants have little tabs on the inside that you can adjust. So if it doesn't quite fit your waist, you adjust this tab, and then it sits more perfectly on your waist and won't fall down. And a lot of them don't need belts, but all the pants still have belt loops because it would be weird to not. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say already, I feel like belts are far more for fashion, it feels like, than for practicality. I barely wear a belt, and I feel like it's just because I just get pants that fit me.
Yeah.
I feel like probably at one stage it was, less likely that pants could be so perfectly tailored to you, so many sizes and whatever. We just have a plethora of resources available at the moment, so belts were necessary, but now it's just nobody needs a belt.
Yeah, belts obviously came of a time when everything was terrible, and there was maybe maximum 2 sizes of anything. And if you're well, you're too small for it, I don't know, get a bit of leather and wrap it around your waist and pull it tight. I don't know. The point is, we're not making different sizes here.
Yeah. I mean, speaking about things that we don't really need anymore, but we have, I would say, just only for fashion reasons, is shoelaces.
Right.
Because Velcro straps exist.
Well, I would say...
And they look terrible.
I would say maybe
But-
except for like military boots where you want, like if you're running through the jungle, it's going to be way more secure to like, because they've got the serious laces that go all the way up the heel and they really strap to you like the bottom of your leg more than just your foot. Other than that, I think you're right. Like, because
I actually think Velcro is really strong. Do you know they've I want to say I'm not sure if parts currently exist, but there was definitely like this prototype of a plane created with Velcro straps rather than like welding and stuff like that.
Really?
Because Velcro is actually super, super strong. It just doesn't seem that strong because, like, when it's on a shoe or whatever, it just seems like pretty flimsy.
Yeah, there's like a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter square of very thin Velcro.
Yeah, but I actually think that you could make a military grade boot with Velcro
now,
and it would be.
Did I learn on this very podcast, Nelson, way back, that Velcro is technically the brand name? And it is technically called hook and loop fastening system.
Yep, that is correct.
So at one point, if the military were to change their boots, they would have to say, and these boots come equipped with hook and loop fastening system, which actually does sound more impressive than Velcro.
It does. But I mean, they'd go with Velcro, wouldn't they? You know?
Yeah, the Velcro gets that big military contract.
Exactly.
It's like if you're going with, if the military is going with like adhesive strips to put something up, they're going with 3M. They're not going with the cheap brand. Like they go with the known entity.
Exactly. For some reason, I just think 3M is like a really shitty brand. That's funny.
But the thing is, it's just the known.
But they
brand.
are the name.
But like name a different adhesive strip company.
Nike.
Very good. That was a test.
Yeah.
By the way, if they insist that it is Nike, we should start a brand called Nike after the god.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. We'll be the one true Nike. Anywho, don't wear belts anymore, I think was the point of that one. Here's another one. This is by Styles. Someone somewhere in the past was pissed off on how someone else parked their horse.
I think even current day, if you saw a horse in a car spot at like a shopping center, you'd be annoyed at how that person parked their horse. I don't think this is something that used to exist. I think this could still currently exist.
I mean, I'd be okay if they were in the if they're in the space.
You would appreciate.
But if they parked their horse, yeah.
So you would, even if there's no spots left, but one of them is clearly taken up by a horse, you'd go, "That's annoying," but he did park the horse very well.
Do you know what I think I would do if I saw there's no car parks left? I'm really annoyed. It's Christmas time. I need to get my shopping done.
It's Christmas Eve. You obviously left it too late.
Yeah. I would very slowly nudge my way into that spot. Can't do that with a regular car, but if it's a horse,
the horse can move.
It can move. It might kind of get a bit flustered and then like end up stepping up onto your bonnet, and you're like, that's fine. If the horse ends up being on top of my car, I'm totally fine with that, so long as I've got the space in there. And then who's going to prove that the horse was there first? Because that seems like an insane idea. Like, what? So I just slowly went into that space while your horse was there? No, obviously you parked your horse on top of my car.
I do want to live in a world where a ticket inspector does try and put a ticket on a horse because it's been there too long.
Yeah, that's a good point. Here's another one. This is by Brady12 Gronk 87. If dogs actually understood people, they wouldn't like us as much.
Well, look, I don't know if that's true of dogs because I love to compliment dogs, but it's very true of our cat, who consistently is called a dickhead.
Yeah.
I discovered his favorite spot to sit, and I erected a sign above it with the word dickhead and an arrow pointing directly down.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, but here's the thing. I don't think the dynamic would change that much, even if he did understand.
Yeah, that's true. Like he
He'd be
walks
like,
in,
yeah, I fucking hate you too.
he walks into the room at the moment, and we both just start going, no, go away.
Yeah.
And even if
Yeah.
you can't understand it, I think he reads the energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He knows. He knows. Here's the thing this is what I think. If people could understand dogs, they wouldn't like them as much. I think that is more true than vice versa. I think if you could understand dogs, you'd be like,
Yeah.
what a fucking
Well,
idiot.
because you know where it would really come into play, which is like, say the dog breaks something in the house and someone goes, oh, he looks so sad, he looks so sorry about it.
Yeah.
But if you could learn that the dog's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about any of this.
Exactly. I know if I just put on this sad face,
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah. This is a
And,
mechanism I've discovered that gets me out of you yelling at me.
yeah.
I have
Exactly.
no sympathy. I have no empathy. I
Yeah.
just want food. I'll be honest.
Do you know what I would love that it would like put to bed is where people are like, oh look, he's so smart. No, he's not a smart dog. You don't have an intelligent dog. He's doing dumb dog things that you've interpreted in a human way. Okay.
The thing is, I think that phrase could be fixed by saying, oh, he's so smart for a dog.
Yeah.
Then suddenly you're like, I agree. That is smarter
Yeah.
than an average dog.
Other dogs can't do this
Yeah.
necessarily. He is smarter than the average dog. Yeah, exactly. That's from now on, everybody say that. Okay. Okay, let's move on, Cameron, to podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another podcast, and we do it ourselves.
So it is my week this week. And so this is not a segment necessarily, and it's also not even a podcast. This is something I discovered on YouTube. And full credit to the YouTube channel is called Drew Gooden. And he essentially takes weird things on the internet and exposes them to a larger audience. And something that he came up with, I felt that I needed to share with the people of this show as well, which is it's training videos, Nelson. Old training videos. Specifically this week, we're talking about the fast food chain restaurant Wendy's from the United States of America.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
And what he's shone a light on is this particular training video from Wendy's. And it is, if you were to get a job at Wendy's, these are the videos you would watch to learn how to do your job, right? That sounds pretty straightforward. Now, Nelson, what is the most concise way, the most clear way to get information across, but also the most fun?
A fun PowerPoint.
Well, Nelson, the correct answer is through song, which is how this training video has decided to do it. Now, Wendy's, what it looks like it's from the early 90s, have decided the way that they're going to train their staff is not with a instructional video on how to make cold drinks or a burger. They will create a music video and a song about how to do these things, and that is your training. So what I've got here is I've got clips from the Wendy's training video, and I want you to tell me whether or not this is both entertaining but also informative. Now, we've had a little bit of retail experience, so you might also be able to say, you know what, I agree with those points, and you know what, I don't agree with those points if you'd like as well. But this is the first one. This is a song about how to make cold drinks at Wendy's. You ready?
Okay.
Drinks, cold. Are you ready? Here we go. Soft drinks, lemonade, water, cold tea. It's up to you. It's up to me. Cold drinks come in 4 cups. Gotta know the size before you fill it up. Biggie, medium, small, kids meal. Keep it straight. It's a good deal. Use the scoop to fill with ice. Never use the cup. Take my advice. For soft drinks, fill the ice halfway. No matter the size, that's what I say. Tilt the cup and push against the lever. Keeps the foam down now, isn't that clever? If there's still foam, let it settle down. Don't pour it off, or your boss will frown. When you reach a quarter inch from the top, that's where you wanna stop. If the customers say they wanna stay, put the drink on the left-hand side of the tray. If the order's to go, put the lid on tight. Make sure it pops to do it right. Then hand that drink to the coordinator and tell the guest you'll see him later.
Don't forget to smile when you serve cold drinks.
So Nelson, after hearing that song, do you feel that you're now completely ready to serve cold drinks at a Wendy's restaurant?
Yes, I am. I think it's funny, like the specific detail. I don't know. Maybe it isn't necessary, but it's just weird in song form to be like, make sure you know what size you've got. Like, well, yeah, it just feels like obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I love that the sign of, I'm going to say the sign of lazy songwriting is phrases like, I must say at the end of things just to make them rhyme.
Yeah.
It's like you got to do it this way, fill it halfway. That's what I say. You know, like it's just, there are these nothing sentences that be like, oh, this doesn't work in the format of a song. So we need to add a phrase to both get it to the right amount of syllables and also make it rhyme. So we'll just add one of those nothing phrases.
Did I hear as well at the end they said hand the drink to the coordinator?
Yes, yeah. Look, I don't know enough about how the Wendy's process works, and maybe it takes several people to get an order complete. But yeah, they did say to hand it to a coordinator.
But then, why? That seems an unnecessary step. I feel like you've got too many people working at the back. If there's one person that's just on drinks, that's an insane amount of people.
Well, what do you think of this method for getting information? Do you think that is? To me, it makes the information go in less than just someone saying, "Hey, look, press this lever with the cup, and the thing will come out." Yeah.
Because
Because I'm too distracted by everything else.
Well, see, here's the thing. For something as mundane as that, absolutely, it's not as efficient.
Yeah.
But if you came up with like a rhyme or a jingle for like very important information, for example, we all know the jingle for Pizza Hut these many years on, 131166. It's like they just made it a fun, rhymey thing to do. I feel like you could do the same thing with training.
Right.
But so like maybe that's what they were going for.
Yeah. You've hit on something
but it's
interesting,
just like,
Nelson, something that may come up.
Oh, okay.
So you've learned how to make cold drinks. You're now technically qualified to work at Wendy's and make cold drinks. But cold drinks, it's only half the spectrum of drinks. What's the other half, Nelson? Hot drinks.
Well, hot drinks.
So now I'm going to teach you how to make hot drinks. Are you ready?
Can't wait for lukewarm drinks.
Hot drinks really get you going. Warms you up when you feel you're slowing. Wendy's, we always serve it right away. Have a smile and have a nice day. Next is the cafe brew, it's just like coffee. Use the orange pot, it makes it easier to see. But if you're using the packets in your store, put it in the small cup and furthermore, add hot water up to the line and stir it in. Put a lid on and serve it on a tray again. Get a small cup when you're ready for hot tea. Fill with hot water, it's easy as can be. Put the lid on and set the tea bag on the top. If they want lemon, it's very nice. Don't think twice, give the guests a juicy slice. Hot drinks really get you going. Warms you up when you feel you're slowing. Wendy's, we always serve it right away. And a smile and have a nice day.
Here's the thing, Nelson.
Catchy.
No
It's catchy.
song about making hot drinks should be such a banger.
Yeah.
I love this
think
like faux Michael Jackson style to it.
I think you can sense how disappointed that singer is with how their career has gone that they're doing this song.
I think
There
one of
a
the
song where
lyrics was the
there's
word
something like
one of the lyrics was the word furthermore.
Yeah, it's a complicated song. And there was like a bit where they were like be, and just the way that they delivered that line, like, I don't want to be here. Yeah, but catchy tune, catchy tune.
So
I don't like it is right. The thing is, they've just. I really do think there is maybe some merit in putting it in a song, but they haven't done something right. And I think it's maybe just the fact that the tasks are so mundane and easy that you've made it almost more complicated to listen to than like if there was some sort of, if you had to remember like the order in which you have to, I don't know, press buttons to like ring up a tally or something, maybe that might be something that's a bit more complex might work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I've got one more song left. And this is, I think, the centerpiece of the video. Now, just think, Nelson, what is the height of a Wendy's burger chain? What's the burger? Isn't it?
Well, yeah.
So there's one more song here.
Though. No burgers in Australia.
No, weirdly they do like hot dogs. It's very weird.
Yeah,
but
hot dogs and ice cream.
I think it's a different company. I think they're just both called Wendy's.
Probably. Is it? I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not. I think so. Maybe not. But this is a song called Grill Skills. Now, this is in the early 90s, and you're trying to reach the youth. What style of music do you think would be the best to do that?
Some sort of like rap or something.
You hit the nail on the head, Nelson. So how about a bit of a funky, urban flavored song about making burgers? Now, this one is just slightly longer than the ones I've played you, but it does try and go through their very specific process for making a Wendy's burger in a wrap. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The grill, Bill, it ain't so tough. But first of all, you got to check your stuff. Like a grill that's set at 250 with the meat and cheese that's ready to go. A towel to keep your station looking cool. But most of all, you got to have your tool. Are you with me now? Get ready. We're gonna lay them down. Now, beats got grain to it just like wood. You got to follow the arrow to lay it down like you should. From the front to the back, you got to lay it down. Space it evenly, not scattered around. Next, you got to salt the meat from the back to the front to make the taste complete. Not too little, not too much. With a little finesse, you'll get the touch. What's coming up next is our key to success. We'll turn the meat and do a 4-corner press. Don't wait too long, I emphasize, or the meat won't reach the proper size. When things start to sizzle, you're ready to go. Gently turn the meat, but don't be slow. Just turn them over easily. We don't want a broken patty, that's a guarantee. Press out the corners 1, 2, 3, 4. Rock it a bit, are you keeping score? Top and bottom, left and right, and you'll get a patty that's out of sight. Press out the corners nice and wide, at least half an inch on both sides. The reason you press, you gotta think, when the meat hits the grill, it starts to shrink.
We start shrinking when we hit that grill. You know it will. We start shrinking.
So there's a very specific, and visuals obviously help, but there's a very specific thing that Wendy's do. They have square burgers, and you need to flatten each corner of the. There's a very specific process, and they've tried to put the process into a song. And in fact, further on in the video, the guy says, "Well, just remember the lyrics. You flatten each side, and you know, like he goes through the song again. Obviously, trying to do what you're talking about, make something simple into a song so it's memorable."
Yeah. It just doesn't. This process doesn't need to be. It's not that hard to forget, I think, is the thing. See, if there was like when I was, I used to work at McDonald's, and I think the most difficult thing was remembering what was in each burger. And if there was a wrap that let me know, you know, if it was like the Big Mac wrap, it told me, you know, you need.
Wait, Nelson, shut up, shut up. Let's do this. Say no more, because I don't want to give away any lyrics to anyone out there trying to steal our ideas. Let's sell this to McDonald's.
The Big Mac wrap.
Yeah. And they're like, the McWrap. No, not the item, the McWrap. Oh, this is a different thing. The Big Mac wrap.
Yeah. We've got one for the McWrap, but it's a sonnet. So
that's the McWrap ballad. It's very confusing.
yeah. Anyway, that was great. Do you know, I actually remember when I was working for McDonald's, the training videos that they gave us was with they had Hamish and Andy, which we've spoken about not that long ago. Actually, were the radio hosts in Australia that do very popular, and I thought it was weird that they just like got them to do a training video.
Do they do any fun McDonald's pranks in the video, Nelson? You know what they're like.
I'm sure they did. I wasn't paying attention, obviously. I do remember when I got my job, like there was a guy from my high school who was training me. He'd worked there already a few years prior, and he is just like the laziest dude. We got like free Sundays instantly, and he's like, anyway, let's just go downstairs and watch these like videos, and he's just like talking the whole time. And at the time, I wasn't really good friends with him, but it was just like, I was just like, man, working at McDonald's is awesome. You just kind of fuck around for like ages.
I assume Hamish and Andy will be hanging out all the time, just in the stores.
Yeah, that's it. Anywho, so that was Podnapping.
The welcome return.
The welcome
Well, I
return
say
of
welcome
Podnapping.
return, but I need to know whether anyone enjoyed it. I'm assuming it was a welcome return.
Probably was. Let's not look into it. But now it's time for the AMA, the Ask Me Anything, where listeners of the show, just like you, listener, can write in and ask us anything you want.
That's right. For example, you can write in like Hallie has here. She says, gentlemen, the 200th episode is everything I could have hoped for, and I'm flattered that you opened with my clip. Now, clever there, she said it's everything she could have hoped for, but she didn't say her hopes were high. So very clever, Hallie. We see what you're doing there. My question for this week is, how have you known that a relationship was going to be a good one / last? Things are starting to look promising with my new boyfriend, and I'm starting to look for signs that he might be sticking around. In the next few weeks, I will send in a voice clip of myself trying out an Australian accent, so you'll have it for a future Podnapping segment. It's going to be bad. Love you guys, Hallie.
Well, should I be giving advice on this?
I want you to give the advice here. Because she can learn from your mistakes.
Okay, cool. Well, here's what I've learned. No, I don't know. Okay, so I've only had like maybe a couple, maybe like 2 or 3 like long-ish relationships. But I don't know.
Because the problem is you did them all at the same time. You were dating them all. That's where it all went wrong, is you were dating them all at the same time.
Until I got that threesome camping that I wasn't invited to.
Yeah, just the 3. Just the 3 women.
Yeah. No, they it's really hard to say whether the relationships are going to be good, because there was times during those relationships that I had that I was like, this is going to be a good one. This is going to work out very well. And then I think in all instances, I've been the one to end the relationship. And it's normally because I know from personal like experience, my relationships is, I think at the start, I'm almost like too passive in a relationship. And so the girls I've been with have been more like, I can't think of the right word. I want to say like bossy, but it's not quite the right word.
Let's say strong-willed.
Strong-willed? Yeah, okay. I'll say that, because it's not like I ever felt like I was super being bossed around necessarily, but it was just like I still felt like I was kind of the afterthought after a while. Like it was like she just didn't, in both instances, didn't really like care about what I thought too much. And I think I just realized that one day. I was like, oh, I'm sort of like not really enjoying this because this relationship's more about her than it is me. So, and I just like sort of woke up to that, I think both times. And now that's probably why I haven't been with somebody for so long, like I haven't had a relationship, because I'm so conscious of like, am I getting the right thing out of this relationship or am I just going to be sucked into another thing where it's like all about her? And
well,
then,
I mean, the thing with this question is as well is you can only really talk about like your own perspectives, and everyone's perspective is slightly different, I guess. But I need to phrase this right, and you'll see why in a sec. It's the thing is like, it shouldn't be hard. You know what I mean? Like, that's not to say you shouldn't work hard at a relationship, because you obviously always should, but the relationship itself shouldn't be hard. Like for instance, we have like a mutual friend, and their relationship has always been very up and down, and it seems very difficult and very hard. And I don't understand that relationship, because I'm like, with Stacey and I, our relationship is always pretty easy. I'm never scared to bring anything up. I'm never scared to like do whatever. And I think that the fact that it is easy to always like we're always tend to be on the same page. Our relationship has never been a struggle. I think that is even in times like this that are like hard times where working hours have gone down, etc. The relationship is still quite an easy relationship to maintain. And if it's not, I think that is one of the signs. And if it is, then I think, if it is an easy relationship, I think that's a sign that it will keep going.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a really good point. Because speaking about these relationships that I've had, both started with their exes being a problem in their life. I think it just like, so why it might have gotten easier, even just the fact that it started in like a difficult circumstance. And I think because it meant that I was like trying to win them over so hard early on, because I was like competing with their exes, it like threw what the relationship was into, it wasn't real, because it was based around this scenario that eventually just like went away.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, now this is like a normal relationship, but it's been built in a different way.
I think as an example, though, not a perfect example, like this doesn't work for all situations, but like say the phrase, if I said to you, oh, geez, don't tell Stacey about this, is probably a sign that I'm not comfortable with it. Like say I was like, oh, I'm going to go out drinking with Nelson, but don't tell Stacey about it. She's going to get angry. But I know that if I was like, hey, I'm going to go out drinking with Nelson, Stacey would be like, yeah, that's fine. I don't have to hide anything from her. She doesn't have to hide anything from me.
I invited.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a really good point as well. Canberra, you're so wise in the ways of relationships.
Yeah. They call me relationship Yoda, but that's because I'm ugly and short.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you are in a relationship. It's not because you have good advice.
Yeah. I'm in a relationship and I'm short and ugly. I'm relationship Yoda.
Yeah.
Also, for a while, I did live in a mud hut, just like Yoda.
Yeah. I think that's something that I will hear quite frequently from certain friends or something about like, oh, I don't want my other, my partner to hear about this. And like, sometimes it's just in jest, but other times they're kind of being serious, and you're like, oh, maybe like it might not seem as bad, a bit of a kind of joke at the moment, but if this is a serious concern, I feel like it's not going to age well.
I think it's maybe even a generational thing, where I think there's like the generation before us, or like our parents' generation, are more like, isn't it crazy that you hate your wife? And I think our generation is like, no, that's weird. Why would you hate the person you're married to? But it's definitely like, the joke is like, oh God, I hate my wife, or I hate my husband.
Yeah, the ball and chain.
Yeah,
very much like. But I think like that is also probably there was way more pressure, and people still feel it today, I think, to get married and have children. But definitely in that like our parents' generation, and even the generation before that, it was like you needed to have a relationship, you needed to be married, you needed to have kids, and so I think that's why that thought process has changed over time. But yes, very ingenious. So I think we helped. Here's what you need to do. You need to pretend like you are extremely poor and have no money.
This is good.
Get him to buy everything. And if he's willing to go through that, then he's sticking around.
That's why they call you Relationship Yoda, because you're very wise in the way of relationships.
Yeah.
But you're very tall and handsome, and you'd never live in a mud hut.
Yeah. I often say use the Force as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to relationship. I don't really know what it means.
Not like in a date rapey way. Don't use the Force that way.
Oh, no. That would
Don't use
like
Force. That. Don't use Force. Use the Force.
Use the Force. The midichlorians.
Yeah.
Use the midichlorians.
No, not the chloroform, the midichlorians. Oh, my God.
Okay. I have a quick one here, and then I'm going to do another question. This is by Haunting Flight. Hello, gentlemen. What's up? Pluto correspondent here. We have contacted the British Empire recently, inquiring about taxing native Plutorians. Our native dictator has decided to kill them all with wolves.
Good strategy.
On the topic, dictator Sinjakinet is sending an attack fleet to wolve the Australians. He was deeply hurt at the accusations of being a correspondent to be involved, but off the hook in terms of active duty of correspondent. Prepared to be smited. Bring it on, Pluto. You're not even a fucking planet.
Can I just say, I love the phrase "to wolve the Australians." I like that wolf can be an adjective, a noun. It could be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think we had an episode where we were wolving people.
Yeah, no, but I just love it being used in that particular like syntax, like the use of language there. Not set the wolves on them. You're going to wolf them.
Yeah. It's a good phrase. Okay, this one is by Sonny. Hello, gentlemen. This is my first time writing into any podcast, but I feel that it's important for me to inform you of something that occurred last night.
Okay.
I've got a bit behind on my podcast feed, so I've only listened to episode 199 so far. However, in part of my dream last night, I started listening to episode 200. I looked down at my phone and saw that it was a little over 5 hours long. I was a little bit annoyed.
Just
because
as a
I
rule of thumb, roughly an hour. I know you're new to the podcast, but it's roughly an hour.
Roughly an hour, yeah. I was a little bit annoyed because I downloaded podcasts to listen to them later, and a 5-hour-long video would take up a lot of space on my phone. I was still planning on listening to the whole thing, though. I don't remember anything else about that part of the dream. So that brings me to 2 questions for you. 1, what would a 5-hour-long episode look like? Number 2, what are your dreams like? I always have very strange dreams that take place in fictional locations, but I recently found out that one of my friends' dreams always just look like normal days. Thank you for the great podcast. I'm going to quickly answer the dream one because I had one last night and I actually remembered it, crazily enough. I was putting on, I was like putting together a panel of people, like people were paying tickets to go to an auditorium to listen to like a panel of people. And I was putting it together for some reason. And we were outside a Coles, a supermarket.
Yeah.
And I think I was getting them snacks. And I remember thinking, I don't know who these people were. They weren't anything to me in the dream afterwards. I don't remember. But I remember being like, I need to act real cool here so I'm not like fanboying around super cool people. It was probably Sarah Michelle Gellar, let's be honest. And so I was like, I'll buy them snacks. But then I was like kind of annoyed because I was like, oh, I have to spend all my own money on these snacks when really they're the ones that should be paying for the snacks. And then I think there was like audio problem in the auditorium when we got in, and it was my fault. So I had to like go out, and then I had to get more snacks. I remember it was part of it. I'm like, damn, I've already got all these snacks. So my dreams are weird, I guess you could say.
That also just sounds like someone probably has a day like that. You know, that's not super surreal.
Yeah.
Like that is pretty
Yeah,
day to day. If someone told me that as their story of their day, I'd be like, oh, you had an uninteresting day. You had to put on a panel, you had to go and get some snacks, but then there's some audio problems. You know how it is. I'm like, yeah, that sounds completely normal.
Yeah. And then I flew.
Yeah, you were flying to and from the supermarket. You should have mentioned that.
Obviously. Yeah.
I'm not as helpful.
Yeah, that's
here.
true. That's a pretty normal.
I don't really remember my dreams very often, but the bits I do, I think I dream very normally. I think I have very day-to-day kind of dreams.
Yeah.
So as far as a 5-hour podcast, Nelson, are you happy to reveal the plan that once you had about a very long version of the show that you wanted to attempt?
I mean, I think you've already revealed this in a previous but you can re-reveal it if you would like.
You did initially pitch to me many moons ago now that you wanted to attempt a Guinness World Record of longest podcast ever recorded. Which, what was it? It was like 3 days. Or it was like technically you have to go on a radio program or something.
Yeah, I think it was like 62 hours or something like that. And yeah, we had to be. There was only one that was like longest running radio show or hosts or something like that. I know it was radio related, but they like approved us to do it. Yeah. So, because I actually did, send in the application. And the plan was to do that at the PAX convention in Melbourne. And the idea I had for that was mainly part of it was going to be like, we'll get people on that we had on previously, like the Escape This Podcast guys and the Picture This podcast and just like a few others. We'd probably get Welcome to Patchwork people on, even though we hate them enormously. And just sort of try to create content that way. But also I said to Cambo, I was like, Reddit is infinite.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're not going to run out of information because all we need to do is just sit on Reddit, go through the Ask Reddit survey, even ones that I would just ignore on a normal week.
Yep.
Like we can just talk shit about them. And I'm sure we could get to 62 hours.
But as far as what would that look like as a podcast? It'd ebb and flow a lot, I imagine. There'd be pockets of pretty good content, and then long stretches of not
man,
much.
I'm tired. How about you? Are you tired?
You know what phrase I think you'd hear a lot is anything else? Or
yeah. I'd like the idea that we sort of don't want to talk, but we kind of have to do it. So we just say really nothing things for the whole time, or just start reading comments like nonchalantly.
You get like halfway through a comment, and then you're like, "Oh," and then this one gets racist. So I'll.
Oh boy. So I think that's what a 5-hour or longer podcast would look like. And I still like the idea of maybe doing that one day. I just don't really know when or why or
we'd definitely get desperate enough to try surprise interview again.
Yeah.
If there's ever going to be a resurgence of surprise interview, it's during the longest podcast ever recorded.
Well, I think what would be good, you could definitely do surprise interview, because I think the idea of being at a convention is a fun idea where you can just interview random people just because you try to fill time.
Yeah, you might have a slightly higher hit rate.
Yeah, exactly. People that are more willing to engage in conversation, I guess. But yes, anywho, thank you for writing in, Haunting Flight, Sunny, and Hallie. If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us at Facebook, Twitter, and our subreddit. They are all READIT podcast. You can also actually join our Discord if you'd like.
It's going off lately, Nelson. Our Discord. It's almost a nightmare in there. There's so many notifications, but I love it.
There's people having conversations that you read over afterwards, and you're like, it's kind of weird that I'm third wheeling this conversation that I'm not part of.
Even during this very recording, our Discord has been lighting up the whole time. So yeah, come and join the Discord. It's a good time.
Our ears are burning.
And there's a fun surprise when you do join the Discord as well.
But we can't tell you. I mean, we could. We're just not going to. So that's it. We'd also appreciate if you could rate and subscribe. But that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will read you later.